Hey, it's your boy Easy, and on today's episode of Easy Opens, we're going to be taking a look at the Super 7 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Casey Jones figure. The battering vigilante sportsman, if you're nasty. This version first appeared in 1989 as a part of Playmates Toys' TMNT basic assortment of action figures. He's loosely based off of his appearance in the 87 animated series, or at least they resemble each other. I'm not really sure which technically came first, but it's pretty obvious that they're kind of like he looks more like him than he does the comic version. So there's that. Super 7's box art is really cool. It's got the slip case, you get the figure inside, and then you got the blurb on the back that echoes the blurb that was on the back of the Playmates box, which I absolutely love. But now let's get this figure free from its plastic prison and see what we think about Casey Jones. So here we are again, Super 7 doing a great job taking my memories of the Playmates figures I played with as a kid and actually making them a reality. Like, so again, you know, like this is the figure that I remember playing with. I know that it's different and not the same, but that's the point I think of this whole line. They've done a fantastic job recreating a lot of what that figure had going on, but managed to improve upon it through paint and sculpt and giving him the ability to stand up straight. The detail here is great with the tattered clothes and all the holes. The wraps on his hands look awesome. And the green shoes. Oh my god, y'all. The green shoes. However, the more I look at it, the stranger the mask seems to look to me. It's wild how something so little, like such a small detail, can have such a drastic effect on the overall character. And then when you compare it to the original figure that this is based off of, I think I prefer the original figure's mask. It's just a little wider, but I think the biggest issue with it is the eyes. With Super 7's figure, the eyes are just a little too rounded and I guess soft, that the original had a little bit more of an angle to it that added to some, like, I don't know, edginess to the figure that's sadly lost a little bit here, at least for me. Going back and looking at the original figure and comparing it, Super 7 thankfully managed to avoid the midriff on their figure looking like a tiny corn on the cob like it did on the original Playmates figure, and that's just, I don't know, I'm kind of glad they did that because I don't need that to look any more real than it did back then. It just looked weird. Maybe that's just me. However, unfortunately, they could not resolve the gap between his waist, where his abs meet his pants, and that's just a weird situation going on down there. I mean, I'm sure it is for most people, but on action figures, I don't know, I think it's just more noticeable. So another thing I've noticed is that this figure has a slight shininess to it, like a sheen, and in looking at pictures of the original figure, because I don't have mine anymore, it seems like the original one had this same kind of like shine to it. And I don't know that I like it. It looks okay, but in comparison with other Casey Jones figures that are on the market right now, I don't know. I think I prefer a more flat look. You know, it's not really anything that's bad, but it's just something, again, of note. So, however, the colors on this figure are fantastic. They just pop and look awesome. And big fan of the color and the paint on this figure. All right, now let's talk about the accessories that you're going to get with this version of Casey Jones. Casey comes with a hockey stick, 3 baseball bats, 3 hockey pucks, a golf club, a teal golf bag to carry them all in, 8 interchangeable hands, and then all of those weapons are also included on a weapons rack that's cast in teal plastic, just kind of how a lot of the old Playmates figures had their weapons come with them. All right, well now let's take a look at the articulation you're going to get out of Super 7's Casey Jones. So starting with the head, you cannot really get much movement out of here. I mean, he cannot look up at all. He can't really even look down, maybe just a little bit. But he can do side to side like pretty good, but you can't. The back of the hair is going to keep him from going that way, and then the chin will get him from going that way. And yeah, but I mean, if you just need him to look side to side, he can do that all day. You got 360 rotation at the shoulder joint, and it can also go up as well. You get 360 at the bicep. You get 360 at the elbow, which is really cool. And you also get a joint there as well, so some wiggle room, and that makes up for it not being a double jointed elbow. You also get 360 at the wrist, and there is a hinge to some of the wrists, so you can get some more wiggle room there as well. Then he doesn't have any chest articulation, which I found was interesting, but he does have 360 at the waist, and then as you can see, the huge gap there. Let's see here. Then moving to the legs, he's got ridiculous split action, which is really cool. Don't know why he'd need to do that, but it's nice to know that he can. You get a swivel at the thigh joint, as well as the joint allows for 360 rotation at I guess that's the hip, crotch, leg area as well. You get 360 at the calf area, as well as a joint in the knee, which is really cool. And then you get a little bit of an ankle rocker down at the ankle, and that's it. There's no toe articulation there. And yeah, I believe that is all the articulation you're going to get out of Super 7's Casey Jones. Now, according to the back of the Playmates box, this version of Casey stands at 6'2" and weighs 235 pounds with fully loaded golf bag. This figure, however, stands at about 7 inches tall and weighs 7 ounces with fully loaded golf bag. And now let's take a look and see how he compares to some other figures you might have in your collection. Here he is with NECA's Mirage Comics Shredder and NECA's 1987 animated series Shredder figure. Here he is with NECA's 1987 animated Foot Soldier figure and their Mirage Comics Foot Soldier figure. Here he is with Jada Toys Street Fighter Fei Long and SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Vice. Here he is with Figma's Link and Hasbro's Marvel Legends Thing. Here he is with McFarlane's Mortal Kombat Shao Kahn and DC's McFarlane's Connect and Collect Killer Shark. Here he is next to Hasbro's Fortnite Man Cake figure and Masters of the Universe Classics Merman. Here he is with Hasbro's Power Rangers Lightning Collection Cog figure and Storm Collectibles Sub-Zero. And I thought with all the Caseys, we should take a look at how they look compared to other Raphael figures that other companies have put out. So here we go. Here he is with NECA's 1987 animated series Raphael. Here he is with the NECA knockoff colored bandana Mirage Comics Raphael. Here he is with the Super 7 Raphael. Here he is with the DC Batman TMNT crossover Raphael. Here he is with NECA's April O'Neil 2.0. And here he is with the other Caseys that are currently out right now. The NECA 1987 animated series Casey Jones and NECA's Mirage Comics Casey Jones. I'm a huge fan of Casey Jones. I think he's an amazing character and a awesome part of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lore, especially in the books. And this particular version is a take on the Playmates version, which is a take on the animated series version, if that's not confusing enough as it is. And I still remember loving the Casey Jones Playmates figure back in the day. Something about it was just really cool. I'm pretty sure it was the mask. It was probably also something to do with the sports equipment that as a kid you're like, oh, I can use these as weapons. Well, I'm going to put that in the back of my head if need be. But I think the other thing was that he was aspirational, because look at them abs. I mean, he can wear that cutoff shirt and those abs. Like, come on. I never achieved that, but I'm sure that he was pivotal in someone's development in being their true self. Super 7 did a great job bringing it up to the modern standards of action figure quality. The sculpt is really good, gotta say that. However, it seems a little thin. I was looking at some of the promo shots of this figure that they had put out, and he seems to be a bit wider in those shots, and in my opinion, that looks a little bit better. And I think that it might go a little better with some of their other figures in the line. That's not to say this doesn't look good, but I just having seen that image, I was like, oh, a beefier Casey in this format might have been pretty cool. The colors and paint look awesome and just really pop on this figure. I like him a lot. The accessories are great. However, I still wish that he came with a pointing hand. Like that, the pointing hand thing, that's going to be a point of contention for me going forward, especially if we get a figure of the same character that has one. I kind of feel like all of them need to have it. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me. He looks awesome with the other figures from Super 7. He looks great with those. And I think you could probably make it work with some of the NECA offerings, especially with the turtles, because this version is very tall and the turtles are generally supposed to be shorter. And so I think that works. I think you have an issue where you put him next to April because I think he's a little too tall, and especially then next to Irma or any of the other Channel 6 people, they're going to be too short, I think. So you might lose some connectability there, I guess. But the other thing is the shininess. Like, I think you can get past it. And again, it's just a nitpick of mine, so your mileage may vary on that. I don't know. I just think it kind of cheapens the look of the figure, and I don't know, that's very subjective, but that's again just my opinion. It does look more closely like the source material, but I think I would have preferred just a more flat look. The mask, it's not quite doing it for me, like I mentioned earlier. You know, some of his contemporaries got it pretty good, and I just wish that this one would have been just a little bit more aggressive looking, and in some angles it looks like it pulls it off, but not in every angle. And I know that's probably difficult to do, and if I get it in the right angle, then I'll be happy, I guess. But nevertheless, thought it was something to mention. And to that point, it might have just been cool if they came with a different head, which they've done before with other figures in the line. That way we have an option for like a more like softer looking mask, and then like a more like aggressive, like mean looking mask. That would have been really cool. And then there's the gap between the torso and the legs. It's not necessarily egregious, but it's definitely noticeable and a little weird, but still, you'd think that they're so good at doing these figures, you'd think that they would have been able to fix that. But what do I know? I'm just a toy reviewer on YouTube, just buying it still. So there you go. That all being said, I'm seeing pre-orders for a red version of this figure, and the preview images look awesome. And they even come with an extra like battle damaged head, which is really cool. Would have loved for this one to come with that. And yeah, so if you're on the fence about this one, you might want to consider the red variant when it comes out. But nevertheless, if you're a hardcore Casey Jones collector, you're definitely going to need this figure. If you just really love reminiscing about the old action figures and would like to have a more updated one that looks really good, this, just throw Super 7 your money right here, because this will do it for you. Or if you just want to add again another New York vigilante to your New York vigilante toy shelf, then this Casey Jones will definitely fit right in. All right, well, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. And if you liked what you saw, hit the like button. And if you want to see more from me, hit the subscribe button as well. And definitely let me know in the comments, which version of Casey Jones do you prefer? Do you like the Playmates one? Do you like the NECA, the Super 7, the comics version, the animated series one, the live action one? How do you say Elias Koteas? Do you say it like that, or do you say it how the actor actually says his own name, which I can't think of right now because we've said Elias Koteas our entire podcast from 10 years ago. And if you want to hear us talk about all things Casey Jones and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you can do that by following us on Turtle Soup Podcast here on YouTube, where we get together at least once a month on a Thursday night and we talk about Ninja Turtles. So if any of that sounds intriguing to you, be sure to head on over there. And until then, else time.